small town southern wife. Today we're making shepherd's pie, and I thought I'd show you how I'm going to do this shepherd's pie. So let's turn around here and I'll show you what we're using. Okay, what we're going to use right here, I have 2 pounds of ground beef. We're going to use the ground beef in our shepherd's pie. I have some leftover creamed potatoes, and then we've got a half of a little purple onion, and then in here I've got some mixed vegetables, and I'm going to put that on the top, and then 1 egg, some minced garlic, some Worcestershire sauce, and about a tablespoon of tomato paste. And then we're going to add a little bit of beef broth to it once we start simmering it, because I don't want it dry. I want it to all blend together and have a little juice to it, just so it's like not a gravy but a sauce in my shepherd's pie once I get everything mixed together. So let's turn around here and get to cooking our shepherd's pie. I've already sprayed my little 8x10 throwaway tray. That's what I'm going to put it in. I've got it sprayed good with just some canola spray. This one right here. The first thing we're going to do is get this ground beef almost all the way cooked. And then we're going to drain any of the extra grease. I don't want no extra grease in there, so if it has a lot of grease in this beef, we'll drain it. So let's let that cook, and we'll bring you back when it's almost done. Shepherd's pie is a good meal to have when you have leftover mashed potatoes and you need to use them up. It's a good recipe to use your leftover potatoes and make them something different for the next night. And this is a good what's for dinner idea. Now that I've got my ground beef almost done, I've been chopping I want to chop it up a little bit because I don't want the big chunks in it. So I've got it good and pretty much chopped up. I'm going to go ahead now, because I want to let it be cooking a little longer, and I'm going to add my other ingredients. I have about a half of a small purple onion, my 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, and then I'm going to add, you can add garlic powder or you can add minced garlic. And if you add the minced garlic, you get a little bit more flavor for your meat dishes. To me, you do if you use minced garlic. So I'm putting 1 tablespoon of minced garlic in it. And then I'm going to put a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. About a half a teaspoon of black pepper, and just a dash of salt. And then to that, I'm going to add a cup of beef broth, because I want to simmer it and let it cook down while all those flavors blend together, and I want it to not be dry. So I'm going to add some beef broth to the beef and just start mixing all that together. And I'm going to add about a teaspoon of paprika. And give that a mix. And now let's just let that start cooking down and let those onions start cooking and softening up and all those flavors blending together. And once it's simmering good and the onions are starting to change colors just a little bit, I'm going to add, not much, just 1/4 of a teaspoon of thyme. Thyme, ever how you want to say it, but that's what I'm going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon of that. That just gives your shepherd's pie a good taste. If you add just a tiny bit of that. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of green chives. And then give that a mix and let that keep on cooking. And now, since you waited just a little bit longer to add the chives, it won't cook them down to where you can't tell they're in there. You'll actually still be able to see your green chives. Okay. And now to my shepherd pie mix, I'm going to add 2 ounces of cream cheese. And let that get mixed in there. Start melting down. But that skillet's so hot, it won't take it but just a minute to melt that cream cheese down. Let me get y'all over here where y'all can see. And what that little bit of cream cheese will do is to give your meat mixture a little creaminess to it, where it won't be, you know, just plain meat. The cream cheese gives it that little cream taste in there, and it don't take much, so I only put like 2 ounces. But let's let that cook down, and we'll be right back. Now that I've got my ground beef mixture the way I want it, we're fixing to start putting together our shepherd's pie. But see how that little bit of cream cheese just gives you that real creaminess to your meat, so it's not so dry, and that little bit of broth gives you that little juice in there you want, so your meat mixture's not so dry. Okay, now to my leftover cream potatoes, I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese. And we're going to give them a good mix. Now we're going to put our shepherd's pie together, and we're using this throwaway aluminum pan. But we're going to get all that in here. Set it over there, and then see how you still got your juice, so your meat mixture is not going to be so dry when you go to cook it for the whenever you cook it, because we're actually going to put this in the freezer for a freezer meal. All right, now we're going to put our carrots. We've actually got just the veggie mix, where you get your carrots, your peas, and it has some little pieces of corn and green beans. And we're just going to put that over the meat. And if you like more vegetables, you could add more. That right there is about 1.5 cups full of mixed vegetables. And now we're going to start putting our potatoes on top. Parmesan cream potatoes. Let's see how that goes for that amount. It may not take all of them. All right, we're going to go ahead and add the rest of them on this end. This right here is a good dinner idea to have in the freezer for meal prep. When you just get home from work and you want to take something out of the freezer, you can take it out that morning, set it in the refrigerator and let it unthaw and have your freezer meal ready to go. Okay, now that we got this part done, I'm going to add a little bit more of cheese on top. I'm going to start by adding some white mozzarella. And it was the block cheese, and I shredded it up myself. And just sprinkle some of that on top. Oh, it smells good. I just have shredded this yesterday. And then we're going to add some mild, now this is medium, cheddar cheese. We're just going to finish this bag off on it. So that'll have 2 kinds of cheeses plus the Parmesan cheese inside the mashed potatoes. All right. So you got to hold to it because that's 2 pounds of ground beef. But there is your freezer meal shepherd's pie, where all you got to do is now just put it in the freezer and you'll have a dinner ready to go when you get home from work and you need it. But that's how we make our shepherd's pie, not be so dry. If y'all try this shepherd's pie, let me know. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you try it and you like it, and share our videos. And if you hadn't already, subscribe. Think about hitting the red button down below. Thanks for watching.